All right, guys. Hello. We are live. And wherever you are joining in from, please come comment where you're in at. We are in Northern Colorado, and I wish I could show you right now. It's snowing, and we already have an inch of snow on the ground. It is September. Oh my goodness. It is April 17th, 2026, and we have snow. A lot of it. So I hope where you're joining in from, you are enjoying your Friday. It is exciting wherever we're at. But today, before we even get started, I'm going to try to have some notes up here. And I want you guys to engage in this conversation. We're both live on Substack and we're live on LinkedIn. But the more that you guys are able to comment and engage, I'm going to try to keep things going on both ends here. Hold on, I want to try and I always have a hard time trying to pull up Substacks to make sure I'm getting the comments that you guys leave. Okay, so I don't know if I can do that, but if I see anything live here, I will let you guys know. I'll try to comment as we're going in. All right, so anyways, yes, it is snowing here in Northern Colorado, but we're here to talk about the daily strategy that gets senior level leaders like you back in the room. But before we dive in here, I want to tell you exactly why I am the right person for this conversation. Because guys, some of you might know me, some of you might not know me. And for those of you who know me, drop in and say hi. For those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Vennessa McConkey. And I am a career strategist and advisor. I work exclusively with senior level professionals, that's directors, VPs, C-suite leaders, and companies. Okay. But right now I'm going to speak specifically to the professionals here in their job search who are highly qualified, deeply experienced, and they're like completely stuck in their search. I mean, 2026 is a whole new game now, isn't it? It's totally different than it's been even last year. At the beginning of last year. So I don't help people write better resumes. I'm just going to make that very clear. What I do is I help people, these professionals, understand why the market right now is not responding to you, and then what to do about it strategically. Okay, I know you guys love strategy, so that's why I'm going to be talking about that. Okay, my background is in engineering and operations, sales, go-to-market strategy, and business development. Okay, I have built pipelines from scratch. I've brought diverse teams together in various industries. I've closed contracts. I've navigated my own career transitions, and I understand the frustration of knowing exactly what you're capable of doing and not being able to get the market to see it. Okay. So the work I do now is about positioning, visibility, clarity, and strategy applied to the most high stakes challenges that most professionals will ever face selling themselves in a market that has fundamentally changed. Okay. So today, what you're going to leave with is clarity on why your search is stalling, clarity on what the market is actually rewarding in 2026, and a framework for how to change it. All right. Who is ready to get into it? I am going to try my slides. As we dive in here and double check some comments. Anyone who is commenting, it would be great if you could comment. Sometimes I can see the comments, sometimes I can't. So it would be great if you could comment so I can make sure that we are rocking and rolling here. All right. Hold on. All right. So first things first, what I want you to walk away with today: a clear diagnosis of the real reason your search is not producing results. Not a surface level answer. I want to make sure that you guys leave with a true strategic diagnosis. That's the first goal, okay, of today. The second one is understanding how hiring at the senior level, this like mid to senior level, okay, how that works right now, and why the approach you've been using and has been taught to you for decades now is actually costing you time, energy, and opportunities. Okay, that's the second goal. Okay, the first one is a clear diagnosis of why it's not working. Second one is an understanding of how hiring at your level works right now. Okay. And the third is the beginning of a daily strategy framework that can change how you're being seen. Okay. How you communicate your value and how you move towards the right role. Hint, it's not going to be a resume rewrite. Just saying. Okay. I am going to show you enough today that you understand the problem completely and enough of the solution that you know which direction to move towards. What I cannot do in this about 45 minutes to an hour is apply any of this to your specific background, your specific targets, your specific market position. That's what I have a strategy hour for. But by the time we're done with this hour today, you're going to know whether or not you need that strategy hour or not. Okay. But I do want to remind you, excuse me, that the time that you've taken in your job search today, whether you're unemployed or employed and looking, okay, think about how much time and money and resources and energy it's taking for you trying to do it by yourself your own way with strategies and advice and things that used to work. Okay? So, here we go. Let's pull this all up here. All right. I want to start with something that might feel a little uncomfortable. If you guys have been following me for a while, I am all about kind of getting you that uncomfortable position because that's what growth is when we see ourselves in that uncomfortable position and we're like, ooh, we got to do something. Okay. I want you to think about the last 90 days of your search. And again, whether you're unemployed and searching or you're employed and you're looking. Okay. Think about, okay, 90 days, the last 3 months. So basically the first quarter of this year. Think about the hours you've put in. Think about the applications you've submitted, refreshing the company pages just to be able to see if something fits you. Okay, the LinkedIn messages sent, the resume versions you've updated and you've uploaded to ChatGPT and, oh, fix this for this job description, and the networking that you're doing and the follow-up emails that went unanswered, you got ghosted. And I want you to ask yourself this one question. Honestly, are you getting traction or are you just staying busy? Now, I know as senior level professionals, a lot of us are very energetic. We're very disciplinary. We are tenacious and we got to stay busy. But truly, are you getting traction or are you just staying busy? Okay. I want you to honestly ask that question. Okay. Darren has a question. What defines senior level? Senior level defines you're in some kind of managerial position. You're making a solid 125 and up, typically, depending on your industry. You've been in that type of role and you keep leveling up. You have some kind of authoritative decision making. That makes sense. Okay. So, and I can't remember if my slides here have some of this stuff. But I want you to ask that question, like, are you staying busy or are you getting traction? Because for most people who are watching this now, listening to it, and I mean this with complete respect, even listening to the replay, the answer is probably just staying busy, right? You're busy. We're all busy. It's the word I love to hate. It was used so much in my life, in my childhood, and I'm like, ugh, right? And I believe that you're not stuck because you're lazy. You're not stuck in this job search. You're not getting traction because you're lazy. You're stuck because, and it's not because you lack qualifications. It's not because you're not meeting whatever job description. You probably have a good solid 10, 15, maybe 25 years of hard-won results that are behind you. You've led the teams. You've managed budgets. You've navigated like organizational chaos, and you've delivered outcomes that are still standing at some of those companies. Okay, so it's not laziness. Okay, it's not that lack of qualifications. What it is, but your inbox is still quiet. Okay, interviews, you're getting them, not getting offers. Okay, and somewhere in the back of our mind, right? A lot of this is a psychological game. Okay, somewhere it's not, but you're not going to say it out loud. But there's a question that has started to form for you. Has the market passed me by? Am I not good enough? Why are younger kids getting stuff and I'm not? I have years, decades of experience. What I'm here to tell you is the market's not passing you by. They're not saying you're overqualified, but the strategy that you're using is long gone. Okay. So today, when we're talking, this is not about motivational fluff. I'm not going to tell you do affirmations and look in the mirror and go, you can do it. You can do it. Okay. It's not another list of job search tips or interview tips that you've already read about and search ChatGPT and all the other, God bless you guys on LinkedIn there, the career coaches and stuff. But like, this is going to be very specifically about strategy, about the specific gap that is sitting between right where you are at now and where your experience says you should be. Okay. So I am going to try to pull up these slides. Okay. I'm not there yet. Okay. So I want to make sure that you guys are very clear. Okay. This is something that general career advice, even some of the career coaches out there and recruiters and stuff are going to tell you, but not going to tell you. The system that's out there, which is not regulated, by the way, okay, is built around resumes, job boards, applicant tracking systems, optimization, application volume, okay? And about 10, 15 years ago, that was a really good thing because we'd be getting all these things called papers, just sent over to us, emails, inundated, all types of things. It was hard to search through and categorize. The applicant tracking system was designed for that. Job boards were meant to notify, not just, right, because people weren't walking around seeing a, hire, we're hiring sign, okay? So this was a digital form of saying, hey, we're hiring. And this is what the position we're hiring for. But I think the market got so overwhelmed by being very specific, and this is exactly what we want and need. But then as they're going through the process, they're like, well, maybe we can not have this. This one's okay, we can teach it. It's, okay, whatever. Oh my gosh, we just need a person, right? Who is reliable and trustworthy. And so what's happening is that type of system that was designed for right out of college, early to mid-level career candidates. Okay, not for senior level professionals. We've been there and we've done that. We've done the call through the yellow pages, right? Look in the newspaper and call an ad, right? Walk in a place and say, hey, I can start working now. Oh, do you have a resume? No. Okay, who cares? Whatever. Just come on. I've got hands. Okay. But people who are differentiated primarily by their degree, their certifications, and their technical skills and their immediate availability, that is that early to mid-level career candidates. And that system that system works really, really well when the hiring is transactional. When a company needs a body in a seat with a specific skill set, they're going to screen that 200, 300, 400, maybe even 500 applications to find it. But that is not how senior level hiring works. And deep down, I bet you guys probably already know that. So if you already know that, I want you to put a yes, I know that in the chat. I want you guys to see that and say, oh my goodness, right? That we have got to change it. And everyone's like, oh, someone's got to change it. Someone's got to change it. Again, there is no defined, regulated system for job searching. So guess who's got to change it? You. You're the one who has to change it. Okay. So we're going to dive into a few things here. Okay. But the reality of the senior level hiring market, and I know you guys know some of these numbers, but I'm going to keep repeating them until they go away. The numbers change. Okay. That's anywhere from 70 to 80% of the roles for senior levels, like director and above type thing, they're filled through hidden market. And what we mean by the hidden market is referrals, internal promotions, private conversations between management. Okay. How many of you guys, drop it in the chat, how many of you guys have gone through the interviews, you get to the final stages, and they're like, oh yeah, we went with someone inside. That's what they're talking about. That inside conversation. Okay. So 70 to 80% of the roles have been filled through the hidden market. And the roles that are already posted out there, guys, have already been internally discussed. They've already said, hey, who do we know? Who is inside the company now? And the job board, right? That version, that posting out there is often just a formality. Hey, we looked. We didn't find anyone that matched the level of Susie over here. And we're going to have to close that down. Any candidates, give them the general message. And we're actually going to keep Susie over here and promote her. Then you have the decision maker hiring at that senior level is they're not reading 200 resumes, guys. They're calling 3 people they trust and they know, and they're saying, who do you know? I just had earlier this week, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and then I had a call on Wednesday with a guy that I worked with, 20 years ago, messages me and says, let's get on a call. Hey, who do you know? I have these 2 set of roles. Who do you know? They have a posting, but they're not even actively looking at it. They rather have someone that they know, like, and trust. So what does this mean for you? It means if your entire strategy is built around that posted market, applying, optimizing, submitting, waiting, guess what's happening? You're spending 100% of your effort on about 20% of the available opportunities out there. Guys, you know how many times I message you guys on LinkedIn? Okay. I message you guys, people who are not looking, who do not have the open to work banner up, who are great at what they already are doing. And I say, hey, you know what? I'm wondering, are you looking for something different? Are you happy with what you have? Would you consider something else? And if you would, what would that be? What would that look like? Almost 100% of the time, I get a response saying, yeah, you know what? If the right thing came along and this is what that right thing is, I would jump ship. So everyone's looking in some capacity, but most people aren't putting that open to work banner up there and blasting it out and saying, look at me, come look at me, come look at me. I submitted, 322 applications and over the course of X amount of months. And it's good that you guys are keeping track of that and have some data, but please don't be posting that stuff out there. That's not a badge of honor. That means you're posting that many things and you're applying to that many jobs. You don't have a strategy. You don't have a daily strategy. And I'm telling you daily because it matters daily. You have to do the things on a daily basis. Okay. It's so incredibly important. All right. So you're spending 100% of your efforts on that 20% of the available opportunity, and that 80% of where the real roles live, you're invisible. What did I talk about as we started? My goal is to make sure that you're positioned appropriately, you're visible, and you're clear on what you're visible with. And this is not because you're unqualified. It's because you never built the visibility and the strategic relationships that make the market accessible to you. That is the strategy gap. And it's not your fault because no one ever taught you how to operate in that kind of market. But guess what? Because you're in that now, it is your problem to solve. Like when you get hired at a company, they have a set of problems that need to be solved. Okay. But you can't get there to solve those problems if you're not solving this problem right here. Okay. So let me give you an example here. Okay. I have a client. I'm going to call him David. Okay. Protect his identity here. 22 years of experience. He's in VP of operations at a pretty well-known logistics company. Brilliant. My goodness. I'm like, I just hang on to some of his words. I'm like, you are so intelligent. Okay. And he has been searching for 7 months. Okay. He was applying every day. He had a strong resume. He was getting a handful of interviews. He got an offer and it was way low ball, but he convinced me that the problem was his resume. He's like, I just need to update my resume. Like, I want you to update my resume. I'm like, no. ChatGPT can do it. Claude can do it, whatever. There's so many fancy things out there. There's so many prompts. You can do it, whatever. Okay. But within the first 20 minutes of the conversation, because I typically let you guys just tell me, I could really see what the problem was. His resume was fine. Some of the times you guys send me resumes and I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you to change, right? Maybe don't put your full address, but that's about it. But here's the thing. This was the problem. He could not tell me in one clear sentence what the specific problem he solved for a specific type of company was. He kept describing his history every single time I asked him the question, hey, what problems do you solve? he would go back to his resume and he would literally list off his resume. Oh yeah, I did this at this company and this at this company. And I said, no, what problem do you solve? Because he was invisible, right? He was absolutely invisible in that hidden market, right? He wasn't engaging in conversations, right? He was sitting there and saying, look at my resume. Okay. And he wasn't engaging in conversations with anyone but a freaking recruiter. Okay. And the only people that knew he existed were the ones that were managing the job boards, not the ones making the hiring decisions. So we sat down and we spent one strategic hour together. Okay. 1 hour. I mean, we banged it out. We're like, here we go. This is what we're going through. This is not, oh, what's your resume? What's your background? Blah, 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 blah. No. What problem do you solve? And I make you guys answer that question. Okay. 6 weeks later, guys, he had 3 conversations and motions with the actual decision makers, none from a job posting. Okay. That's what today is about. Okay. So I want to go over I'll answer some questions here. Darren says, how do you contend with the ghosting and falsely advertised positions though? That's what I'm talking about. Don't even go to the job boards. Job boards are for data. You take information from the job boards and you say, okay, what information is this company trying to communicate with me without telling me? Because some companies can't say, hey, you know what? We had a major regulation issue or a compliance issue with the FDA, and it was a result of the quality director or the regulatory director and blah. No, we can't say that. Okay, but it's used as data. Okay, that's why I say find decision makers and start conversations with them and start asking them what problems are. Okay, have those types of conversations. All right, so there are 5 patterns that are keeping you guys stuck. Okay, 5 patterns. And if you have a pen and paper, I want you to write these down. If you have registered for this masterclass, whether on Substack or on LinkedIn, you will be getting the replay, which includes these slides. Okay. I'll try the best to do both here and keep track here. Okay. So the 5 patterns. The first one is you start describing experience instead of positioning value, just like that guy did. Okay. David, we'll call him, right? Like I said, you start talking about your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your 30-second introduction, and it all describes what you have done. If you want my lessons, my courses and master classes on my 3 R's, results, relevance, and resonance, I talk specifically about that, okay? Running a fax machine is great. You did that in the past, right? It doesn't resonate. It's not relevant now. It doesn't resonate with people. They're like, okay, cool, you're old, right? What is almost never communicated is a specific problem that you solve, for whom, and what measurable outcomes. Okay. A lot of you guys are good at the measurable outcomes, but it's what specific problem you're solving, for who, what in that company. Okay. Decision makers, what's happening is they're not hiring for your past performance. They want to see, okay, you maybe, if you're in the medical device world, you've submitted a 510K. Okay. You've got that type of submission experience. Okay, great. But that might be important, or having some kind of, if you're at a director level, they kind of want you to have some experience with sitting down with the FDA, right? Or sitting down with another governing agency, those type of things. That's important. But what they're doing is they're not hiring specifically for those past things. They're hiring for a solution to a current and specific pain point. And if you can't connect your background to that problem in, no joke, about 10 to 15 seconds, you're just reciting the history that they already have in front of them, and you're not positioning your value. Guys, I am a Christian, and I believe that each one of us has a God-given set of gifts and talents that are given to us. We have passions inside of us. Like I can play piano, but I am not a prodigy. That's not the gift I was given. Okay. You have your specific gifts and talents. You have wisdom. Many of you guys are 40 years and up, man. You have wisdom from the last 20 years of working. You have to be able to position that. That is your value. You have to position that to people in like 10 to 15 seconds. Okay. But that's the first pattern, is you describe your experience instead of positioning your value. Okay. The second one is playing in the wrong market. Guys, that posted market out there is where senior professionals spend most of their time. It's where pretty much everyone spends their time, unfortunately. They're the ones who are not getting over here the offers. Okay. When you're in that posted market, guys, that's where you face the most competition. Like I'm shocked actually that AI has not come up with something that shows how many people have actually opened up the job posting. Can you imagine how many people have opened the job posting and then you have 300 to 500 applications? Can you, if you saw those numbers, like how many people have opened it and looked at it, and then you saw every single person that applied, you'd probably like, nope, not touching it, not touching it. Okay. But you're just playing in the wrong market. I mean, we've done the numbers before. One person wins if that's an external from the job posting, not internal inside the company. One divided by 300, let's say, applications. Think about that. That's a very small number. Might as well go play the lottery. Okay. We don't want to be that. Okay. The hidden market is different. Okay. That posted market, that's where you face the most competition. That's where you have the most ghosting. Like Darren, you were talking about the ghosting. That's because you're playing in that market the most. And that's where you have the least amount of human connection. Guys, relationships matter. People matter. AI, technology, always been a tool, mostly for productivity and efficiency and stuff. It's never meant to disconnect us. Okay. The hidden market requires visibility, thought leadership, strategic relationship building. That's like, you know what? I feel like I'm going to go date, I don't know, whoever. And we're just going to, I mean, maybe we'll go to a restaurant. I don't know. Should we go to a restaurant? Should we go? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about this. I don't know. That's how you guys are doing your job market. Oh, I'll take anything. Anything will do. I just need about like $100,000. I just need about $200,000. Like, yeah, whatever. Any industry. Yeah, okay. Guys, you need to have a consistent presence in those spaces where the decision makers pay attention. Decision makers, directors, VPs, CEOs are not looking at the job board postings. The ones who are hiring are not looking at that. They're like, you know what? I think I'm going to find everyone who has been applying and I'm just going to have a conversation with them. No, they're not. But this is how we've been taught. We've been taught to operate there in the wrong market. And I'm telling you, that's a pattern that needs to be broken if you want to win. Okay. So that's pattern number 2. Pattern number 3 is, again, I'm going to say this very lightly, but not at the same time. We confuse motion with momentum. I like to go back to something I heard from, I don't know if any of you guys have heard of Joyce Meyer. There was I don't know if she was on radio or on TV or I was listening to a podcast years and years ago where she was talking about worry. And she's like, oh my goodness, we talk about worry and we think about it, 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 we think about it. Worry is creating a story that may or may not happen in the future, right? But worry is like a rocking chair. We're rocking, we're moving, we're moving, we're moving, we're moving, but we ain't going anywhere. Anywhere. That's the same thing with our job search here. Guys, you guys are high performers. You're not lazy, but you're busy. You're doing all the things. You got the applications, you got the coffee chats, you got the LinkedIn optimizations, you're writing resumes, but nothing's moving. Okay, nothing's moving. Busyness is not a strategy. Let me make that very clear. And I'm saying that as a recovering busy person, okay, growing up with that. You're doing a lot of the wrong things you're doing a lot of the wrong things for 2026, or you're doing the right things in the wrong order. And guess what? Both of those produce the same result as doing nothing. You're not going anywhere. The random daily activity is not a search strategy. Think about it. If you had a project at your company, let's say you're launching a new product, there's a very specific set of things you have to do on a timeline. You have critical milestones. You also have specific daily activities you have to do in order to meet those milestones. Some of them are boring, some of them are exciting. It could be the same things every day, but It's a strategy and it keeps you moving down the timeline. So many of you guys don't have that. Okay. That random activity is a search anxiety managed through action. That's all it is. And then you're wondering why you're spending months and months and months, and then you're complaining on LinkedIn and you're, verbally vomiting to me and other, people in the career space. It's not a strategy. Okay. So that's pattern number 3. Pattern number 4 is you start treating the job search like a transaction. Apply, wait, follow up, move on, apply again. That's a transactional model. And guess what, guys? It worked for when you were early in your career. And I highly encourage early level professionals right out of college. You do that because it teaches you some things, right? We all can agree with that as senior level, right? It teaches you some things. But that works for commodity roles. It does not work for senior level roles where trust, credibility, and relationship are the actual currency you need. Most professional guys, you're so focused on that transaction, the application, getting a response. Oh my God, I got rejected again. Guess what? Life is full of rejections. None of us like it. Okay, the interview. Oh, I'm so excited. I got it. It went really well. And then, okay. But what happens is you end up missing the very opportunity to build relationship. And relationship is what drives the decision, because you're going to have to work with those people one day. You're going to have to work with that candidate someday. Does that make sense? Okay, double check questions here. All right. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put them down in the chat so I can answer them live here. Yeah, and on Substack here, Chris Trammell, yeah, I mean, no one taught you this stuff, but it's our problem to solve, right? It's an epic reality check. It really is. It's a hard one to swallow sometimes. Okay. So those are the 4 patterns. Now we have a 5th pattern. So many of you are invisible in the spaces that matter. Okay. If a decision maker was to Google your name, what would come up? If they were to go on LinkedIn searches and Sales Navigator, what would come up? A profile. You might have a few endorsements. You probably have maybe some posts. If anything, a lot of them are reposts of like, oh, look what our company was doing. Look at this job that's available. But there's definitely no evidence of your point of view on the challenges that keep your ideal employer up at night. Am I right? If I was to go to any one of your guys' pages right now, I don't think I'd be able to see the problems that you solve on your LinkedIn page right now. Visibility, guys, at this senior level is not personal branding just for namesake, right? We've heard personal branding for years now. It's not, make sure you have a beautiful picture up there. Please do have a picture up there. Right. It's not, oh my goodness, I have fancy words for my title, whatever it is. Okay. We want to see your point of view. We want to say, hey, you know what? We solved it. We had this problem and this is what I did to solve it. And these are the results that happened as a result, results that happen as a result, right? And now that I'm not even at that company anymore, they're still living with that result and that process because I created it, because I was there and I had a strategy. The company's better off. Okay. This is about being findable. This is about being credible. This is about being relevant to the people who actually make hiring decisions in your space before they have a role open, not after. Before. Okay. And this is, I highly encourage this. I know a lot of you that are watching are on LinkedIn, but guys, guess what? Substack is a great place where you can go in depth on your specific know-how, on how you solve problems. I mean, you can write newsletters, you can write full articles. Even your notes can be super long. LinkedIn, I think nowadays everyone just keeps scrolling, just like any other social media platform. Okay. You can even put on your LinkedIn a link to your Substack articles. I do that all the time now because it goes more in depth. So if you do want to go more in depth, please come in on Substack and join us there. Okay. But anyways, those are the 5 patterns. Okay. And guys, Here's the other thing. Let me change over my notes here. Oh, I had all these other ones set up here. Okay. We want to make sure, let me go back to pattern 5 here as the slides up. There's regular posts. It doesn't need to post like 3 times a day. You don't have to. Okay. But show that you have a clear point of view. Show that you have evidence of your expertise. A resume just doesn't do it anymore. Okay. Cynthia. Yeah, that's a great question. How can we demonstrate and showcase the problems we solve? This is, again, writing on a specific problem. Go and think back to when you were at a company and you're like, okay, I was up all night thinking about this problem. We had a recall on a product. We had a really unhappy client. What did me and the team do? Right? What did I do? What specific steps did I take in order to help solve that problem? I mean, I can think of ones back when, even at my first job that I had, first like job out of college, I can think of a couple of situations where we had a problem and we went through, like, I worked at a manufacturing machining company, a precision machining company. And we had a customer, after we had gotten 80 or 90% through the whole run of their revision, and let's call it revision C, and they submitted a change. And we had to figure out how to rework those parts that we already made at a minimal cost with minimal resources in order to, and so we didn't have to buy more material and spend more time doing it because they needed that product. So there were specific steps that we took to do that. Okay. I've been at companies where we have recalls, been at companies where we had to, we had to change logistic companies last minute. We had where we acquired other businesses. We did M&As and we had to get them up to speed. So there's so many different ways that you can do that. But if you do have a specific set, if you're struggling with that, that is what my strategy hour is for, to go over things that are specific for you. I can't really go over a whole lot of that on our call here. I want to respect everyone's time. Okay. So guys, experience alone is not enough anymore, as we've all witnessed that. And I know that might be one of the hardest reframes of today. So I want to sit with that for a moment. Okay. Experience alone is not enough. A resume is it's not enough anymore, guys. Okay. Especially with everything out there. I mean, my mentor was just talking, Kelly, she was like, 50% of stuff out there is bots. 50%. And I bet in our industry of job searching, it's even higher. I mean, some of you guys have even told me, like, there's interviews with bots now. That's crazy, right? I think about them like, that's absolutely crazy. So, you might have many of you have earned your experience, not might. I mean, you have earned your experience, right? The 20 years, the results, the hard calls. Think about it. We didn't have, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, even ChatGPT to sit there and be like, okay, so I have this problem and this is what I want to do, blah, blah, blah. Which decision should I make? No, please don't use ChatGPT for that. I've heard of people doing that and I'm like, stop, use your brain, right? We've had the late nights. We've had the politics, right? How many of you guys have been involved in office politics, organizational politics, and you had to navigate that? Tough deals you had to close, maybe deals that you worked on all night. You had RFPs that you were working on for days and days and days and days, and then you lost it. Crises you had to manage. I mean, we had someone at one of the companies had a heart attack in the hallway. We had to shut down. We had 2 companies I worked at because I worked in machining. We had fires. Guys, all of that is real. All of it has value, but none of that is enough on its own. You can't just put, hey, you know what? At these 2 shops, we had fires and we made it through. Like, we kept doing business. Cool. No, experience is that table stakes, but positioning, that gets you in the room, guys. Does that make sense? The talent market at the senior level is so much more competitive and more transparent than it has ever been. Guys, every hiring manager with a VP level opening has access to thousands of qualified candidates on LinkedIn alone. So being qualified, hitting all the check marks on the job description, that is no longer a differentiator. Qualified is the floor, y'all. What differentiates the professionals who land the roles from the ones who almost never do, it's never qualifications. It's almost never. Okay, very small percentage qualifications, but it's about positioning, visibility, being clear and having relationship. Okay, it's the answer to the question a decision maker is unconsciously asking from the first moment they have any kind of encounter with you. Okay, I want you to write this down. Think about this is what they're asking of when they see you, when they see your profile, when they see your resume. Do I understand exactly what this person does, who they do it for, and why I should care right now? Okay, I'm going to repeat that again because I think some of you need to hear it again. Okay, do I understand exactly what this person does, who they do it for, and why I should care right now? Okay. And here on Substack, Chris again is saying, like, this is where all the authors I've worked with get stuck. They were sold on an old paradigm of a book builds your credibility and wins you business. That is only half true right now. And they have to show up and demonstrate real-time value and satisfy know, like, and trust subconscious requisites. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's so true. Okay. Yeah. And, I don't know who this person is, but it says, like, yeah, they are leaving me feeling less human. But also, you have a choice. You get to take charge. Kind of be that annoying sales guy, but with strategy. Okay. Most senior professionals, guys, cannot answer that question. Do I understand exactly what this person does, who they do it for, and why I should care right now? In 15 seconds. They answer in about 15 minutes of going back through their resume. And then by then, a decision maker is like, well, I already read their resume. I'm daydreaming of what I'm going to have for dinner tonight or the date that I'm going to go on or whatever it is. Guys, the professionals who are succeeding in today's market, 2026, please don't go back to 2025, 24, 23, 22, 21, 20, any of those, okay? Are the ones today can communicate their immediate value consistently and in the language that their target audience uses. Okay? You have to know how that company communicates. It also depends, to be honest, I'm going to give you a little tip here. It depends on what part of the country they live in too and have been from. People in Jersey and in Chicago, like me, right? You're going to talk super fast. People down in Georgia and in Texas, not so much. You have to know your target audience. You have to know the language they speak. And it doesn't mean that those people, when they do use that language, are more qualified. They're just more positioned. And this is something that is learnable. It's strategic. And this is what daily focused practice builds over time, guys. Okay? It's what builds over time. Okay? So let's see if I got my... So experience alone, we'll go back to, like, it's what's not enough. Experience is what you've done, companies you've worked for, teams you've managed, right? Positioning is, here's a specific problem you solve, for whom and at what age, with what measurable outcomes, and it's delivered in that 15 seconds. Okay? Do I understand exactly what this person does, who they do it for, and why I should care right now? People should be able to come to your profile and be like, I know what they do. I know who they do it for. I know why. Why should I care right now? I have got a problem and I think they can solve it. Okay? That's important. So now, what do you guys think the market's actually rewarding right now? Drop it in the comments. What do you think the market is rewarding right now at your level? Oh, hi, Gary. Okay. Yours always comes up as LinkedIn user. Okay. So keep dropping in the comments, like, what do you think the market is actually rewarding right now? Okay. This is an important question. Okay. Because most of the professionals I work with, okay, because I see it in almost all of you guys, okay, it's scattered effort, which is understandable, okay, because there is no, like, real process. People don't promote it out there. They don't say anything. They're just like, hey, kind of do these things, the general advice, but it is costly. Okay, so scattered effort, it's going to look like this. You wake up, you open your laptop, You start doing search related things. You're checking job boards, you tweak your resume. You're like, oh wait, I remember this company. Yeah, they said they were gonna have a posting open. Let me check. Let me check my email. Let me see if I get anything got sent there. Let me check my notifications, any of the flags, alerts that I've set up. Let me check all that stuff, right? Hey, ChatGPT, any new ones, blah, 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 Claude, whatever it is, right? Send a few LinkedIn connection requests. You again check your email. Then you're like, hey, I'm just going to apply to these 3 roles. I'm not sure about them, but you know what? Something's got to stick. Then you're like, oh, you know what? This person, they are talking about interviewing prep. Let me read their article or newsletter on that. And then you're like, oh yeah, I should add that bullet to my resume. Hours pass. You've been busy. But did any of that move the needle? Maybe that applying to the 3 roles, but you weren't sure about those roles. So the problem is not effort. The problem y'all are having is that effort without a strategic sequence is just activity. Think about it. If you were running a company and you had a salesperson who was just kind of doing those effort things, but never picked up the darn phone and called on someone with a specific presentation, hey, I know your company here has got this problem, and here I've got a couple of solutions for you. I'd love to work with you. That's moving the needle. But they're just like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna update our company page. I'm gonna just keep, I'm gonna keep rewriting my pitch because I don't think it's quite there yet. Right? We want to be very, very careful because what we're doing is just activity. Think about you're trying to build a wall. Okay. I was thinking about this. I was like, what kind of analogy can I use? And I was thinking about this yesterday in the shower. Okay. So bear with me here. Okay. Imagine you're building a wall and every morning you show up and you lay 3 bricks, right? Your 3 applications. Boom. You put one over here, put one here, put one here. Okay. Done. Right. Okay. I got 3 bricks down. Okay. But you lay them in a different place every day. And by the end of 30 days, you don't have a wall. You have a field of scattered bricks. That's what your unfocused job search look like. You might have a couple of bricks stacked over here, but like, hey, you know what? Yeah, that one's getting a little high. I don't want to keep, I'm going to put it over here, put it over here, put it over here, right? Bricks everywhere, no structure, no cumulative progress. I want to ask you guys that question. Have you had cumulative progress? Do you have things throughout your pipeline in your job search? Because focused daily strategy identifies the specific activities that build on each other, that compound, and you execute them in the same sequence every working day. My mentor, she has drilled this into us over the years. Okay, drilled it into us. Okay, think about this. And it's made a very big difference, even in my own business and my husband's job, things like that, because even in health, I mean, this is not just something that's for career and stuff, although I'm going to really drill it in you guys for career stuff today. Okay. Think about this. When you post, and I'll give myself as an example, about a year and a half ago, because I had taken a almost 2-year health break from doing this. Okay. I still was taking referrals and old clients, repeats and stuff like that, but I wasn't taking on a whole lot of new business. Okay. But I started to post and it wasn't always consistent. It wasn't strategic. Okay. People noticed some things, but I was like, why am I not getting the business I used to? I don't understand. I was so incredibly frustrated. I'm like crying. Okay. But then I was like, okay, I kind of have a strategy, right? And working with my mentor, we sat down and we're like, hey, okay, gotta have a strategy. When you post strategically, consistently, do kind of the boring things, your visibility builds. You can do it on Substack, you can go on LinkedIn, you could blog, you can whatever it is. You can go live video like I am. Okay? You've got to do that. When you engage with decision makers daily, guess what? You become familiar before you need something. Okay. When you have a clear positioning statement and you lead with it in every single interaction, no matter what, not changing it because, oh, this job description says I need this. Okay. guess what? Do you know what happens? Oh, people see you. People actually see you. Okay? And all of it is because you have focused daily execution. Okay? So the professionals who turn their searches around are not always the most qualified, guys. They're so not. I am going to tell you from years of experience, they're not the most qualified, but they're clear, they're consistent, they build relationships. So the market, they're rewarding those things now. Okay? They're rewarding those things. Okay? They're rewarding. Okay? This is, I'm going to go back here just a second. Okay? The things that used to work in 2015, heck, even in 2021, aren't being rewarded in the market now. Okay? These things on the screen are what the market is rewarding right now. Okay? They're rewarding for precise positioning. Precise positioning over broad experience. My goodness, my lips are chilled because it's snowing outside. The professionals landing roles are the ones who can say clearly and specifically what problem they solve and for what company, what stage of growth or challenge, with what outcomes. They're not trying to be everything to everyone. Guys, I am so tired of hearing you're like, well, I'm kind of the jack of all trades or the Jill of all trades. No, you're not. You're not owning a lane. Pick a lane. Make that lane that is so instantly recognizable to the decision maker who needs exactly that lane. They don't need over here and some of this and some of this. They need this. Okay. And the second thing the market rewards is consistent visibility. Okay. You can't just show up once or repost something that, your company posted. Visibility is built consistent effort, repeated presence in the spaces that your ideal audience pays attention, like I'm doing right now, right? How many days, if you look back at my post on LinkedIn and on Substack, how many days and how many times did I talk about this masterclass? How many days even before that was I talking about this content before then to get people engaged meaningfully? Contributing perspectives, guys, not just random content. And doing it, this is the hard part to it. But here's a cool feature. Okay, I'll tell you, hold on, right? Doing it whether you feel like it or not, because the market, they respond to consistency, not your emotional state. The cool thing is both now on Substack and on LinkedIn, you can schedule posts. Sit down for a day, sit down for a Saturday or something like that, write out your posts, schedule them out, make them build off of each other, boom, right? The third thing the market rewards is strategic relationships. Okay, it's not about how many connections you have, how many people are following you. The hidden market runs on trust, guys. Trust is built through relationships, not blast emails, not mass connection requests, not maxing out your connection requests for the week, not following up with, following up the recruiters never responded. The professionals winning in this market are the ones who have been in ongoing, genuine conversations. Guys, I have a client who, oh my goodness, I don't know if he's on or not today, but I was in conversation with him a year and a half ago. He had a job. I talked to him for a year. At least once a month, most of the times twice a month, reaching out. Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's new at your company? What are you working on? How are you feeling about what you're working on at the company? I built that relationship. How your daughter's doing? Because he would share. And guess what? In January, he was like, I got laid off. I want to sit down with you for an hour. Boom. Right? That's what happens. He didn't need me now. Guys, here's the truth. 2 to 3% of the opportunities and stuff, the people out there don't need what you have to offer right now. Or sorry, 2 to 3% actually need it. The rest don't need it right now. Okay? You want to be known before the role opens. So when it does open, the conversation starts with a referral, and the company doesn't have to spend money on putting postings up. That's expensive, guys, to put up there, to manage, to deal with the resources, the hourly that someone has to deal with that. Oh my goodness. Okay. The fourth thing that's the network does respond to is direct asks over passive waiting. This is sales. You have to tell people you're open. You have to ask them. Don't just say, hey, you know what? I saw you have a job open. I submitted my resume. Did you see it? No. You have to build relationships. This is where you leave most of the opportunity on the table, okay? Because what you're doing is you're waiting for someone to reach out to you. You're putting up your open to work sign, and then you're wondering why you're getting some weird conversations. The market does not reward passive professionalism. Think about it. If you got hired today at your dream company, would being passive be appropriate? It rewards confident and direct asks. Ask for the conversations, ask for introductions, ask for referrals. There's nothing pushy about that. I ask all the time, hey, do you know someone? Right? Think about it. If you have, I'll give an example. We have really like vaulted ceilings in this home. We've got a smoke detector that is way up at the top of the middle of the vault. Why? I don't know. We don't have a ladder that's tall. So do I sit and wait for someone to be like, I thought you might need a ladder? No, I go and ask, hey, Bob, do you know anyone who's got a ladder that tall? Yeah, you know what? Actually, Paul over here, he might have one. Oh, yeah, go to Paul. Okay. Do you have a ladder that might be that tall? Yeah, actually, I do. You want to borrow it? Sure. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. I am so gracious. Right? The market is rewarding clarity, visibility, relationships, and direct action. And in that order, do not mess up the order. That is important. What I was talking about at the very beginning here is the order. That order is very important. You can be doing the right things, but in the wrong order. Okay. There is a reason, right? Just like when you have a project at work, guess what? You can't do the end before you start the beginning. Okay. Very, very important. Do we have any questions right now? Okay, Pamela, my posts get a few likes, but they're all from people who know me. It feels like Facebook. And sometimes it does. I'm going to tell you on LinkedIn, the decision makers are not going to like your posts because it is like Facebook. You're going to have to reach out, Pamela. And I really encourage you, as I introduce this next section here, the 60-minute edge. It is one focused hour doing the right activities in the right order every single day. I'm telling you, I do this in my own business before I do anything else outside of scattered activity, right? A lot of business owners are like, I got to update all this stuff and I have to have a nice little pretty landing page and blah, 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 like all this stuff. No, we do the wrong things too sometimes. But if you do the things that move the needle in your first hour of your search every day, guess what? You're going to move the needle and you're going to get things a lot faster. Okay. So I'm not going to give you all the details of the framework, but most of you guys do not have a focused daily strategy. You have intentions, you have the effort, you have the drive, you have the experience, but you don't have a repeatable system that touches the right parts of your search in the right sequence every single working day. And that's what my 60-minute edge is. Okay. The framework is only as powerful as its application to your specific situation. Okay, make that very clear. Your background, your targets, your current positioning gaps, your relationship work. Without that specificity, all this is going to be to you is a checklist. Okay, but what I am going to tell you is I'm going to tell you what this is built around. Okay, very important. Okay, there's 4 stages. All right, and I pretty much just defined these for you before even introducing this to you, if you guys are paying attention. Okay, clarity. Right? You got to know exactly what you bring to the table, who needs it exactly, and how to say it in a way, right, that your target audience, and it creates immediate relevance. That second thing builds visibility, right? You're going to build consistent, strategic presence in the spaces only where your ideal decision makers already pay attention. Okay? You're going to have connection. You're going to deepen the relationships. You're not going to go on a date and ask for, give the girl a ring on the first date. She's going to be like, bye, right? Companies are like that too. They're like, okay, right? You have to deepen the relationships that make the hidden market accessible through intentional human daily contact. Find a human, get a phone number, talk to them, okay? And then you have conversion, right? This is anyone who's in sales. This is exactly what you do. You make the direct ask that moves you from your search, from your search from conversation to that offer, that opportunity. And guys, here's the funny part. None of these stages are complicated. None of them. Okay. The activities inside of them, they're not advanced. You don't have to know some special technology. You don't have to know how to like create a GPT. You don't have to like know all this other stuff, right? What is incredibly, incredibly powerful is the daily repetition, the strategic aspect of it, okay, that's sequencing and the discipline to do it, all four of them in order, not just the one that feels the most comfortable. Okay, I used to hate when I first started my business, gosh, back in 2014, 2015, and I would hate asking people or telling people how much it cost. It was like so uncomfortable. Now I'm like, whatever, it costs what it costs, right? That's what you guys have to do. Okay. So there are intent, and I want to put up here too, just so you guys have it. If you want to work with me specifically on that, I want to give you guys that that opportunity to do so. Where did I put that? Up in the left-hand corner here of your screen, that's my strategy call. You could just scan that QR code and it'll bring you to the booking page where you can go ahead and pay for it and get it rocking and rolling. I'm telling you, a lot of people, the needle has moved very quickly. So you can go ahead and do that. I'll put that up there while we finish up here. Okay, so here's the thing. The 60-minute edge that I use is designed to close all four gaps simultaneously in a single focused hour every single working day in your job search. Okay, when all four stages are active, right? Think about this is a pipeline, right? Sales, you have to have new leads, you got to have referrals, you got to have people who are, recurring clients, all that type of thing. But when all those four stages have something in it, something changes. You stop feeling like you're chasing the market because you got something going in all areas. I've talked to so many people where they're like, okay, I had a great interview, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, what's the next step? They're like, well, I'm going to wait. I said, okay, great. What's in the pipeline? What's coming up? Well, I don't have that yet. You got to have something that keeps going because you don't know what's going to happen over here. When they say, no, we went with someone internal, what do? Right? So the shift that changes everything. Before I close here, I want to leave you with 5 specific reframes that are listed up here on the screen. Okay, very important. These shifts are what separates the professionals who are winning from the ones who are like, I'm stuck. I'm still job searching after all these months. So a lot of you guys, what's happening here, hold on. What's happening is you're like, I need a better resume. I'm going to go to ChatGPT, blah, blah, blah. When in reality, you need clearer positioning. Okay? You're like, I need to apply to more jobs. Right on the left hand here. What you need is better market access. I just need to wait for the right opportunity. It's got to be the perfect culture fit. No, I need to create the conditions for that. You can't wait. I mean, you can, but you're going to pay for it. I'm doing everything right. It just takes time. No, if nothing's moving, guys, something's wrong. Now, I will tell you with the daily activities, you're going to have, something's not going to happen day one. You have to be consistent. But you have to understand if nothing is moving after a period of time, something's wrong. And the last one there on the bottom is, I should figure this out on my own. I'm smart enough. I should be able to figure this out on my own. Guys, you have to think about there's a mind shift. You've never had to sell at this level before. You haven't had to sell yourself at this level. Okay? You've never been taught that. Stop trying to do something on your own that's not getting results. Does that make sense? Okay? You can't keep doing this. This is a new skill set and it deserves a real strategy. So here we are. In this past hour, you heard real diagnosis. You know that the problem is not your qualifications. You know the posted job market out there is not where your opportunity lives. You know scattered effort is not a strategy. You know you can't wait for a recruiter to reach out to you and hope that a company picks you. But you do know that the 60-minute edge is a daily framework that closes the gap between where you are and where your experience says you need to be. And you should also know something else. Okay? You know that knowing is not the same as applying something. I tell my kids this all the time. You can read all the facts that you want. You can read all the Bible verses you want. But if you don't apply what you know, guess what? You ain't going to learn. You ain't going to grow. You ain't going to add value to anyone else. Okay. But here's the thing. Some of you are going to make some real progress after going through today's session. And I'm like, yay, right? I did my job. But some of you are going to be like, I'm going to try it on my own. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try this. But you're going to run into the same problem I see over and over and over and over again. I'm a data person. Remember, my background's in engineering and operations and business development, right? I know data. I have a lot of it. But you're not going to know maybe how to apply it to you specifically, your background, your industry, your targets, your gaps. And that's what my strategy hour is for. Okay, this is a very focused 60-minute working session where we diagnose exactly why your search is not producing results. How many of you guys are not getting good results? If you were, you wouldn't be on this call. Let me just make it clear. Okay, we identify where your positioning is weak. We build a very specific action plan. If any of you guys on here have been on one of my calls, please share in the comments what you have gotten out of this. Okay. Oh, Chris, you're speaking my love language. Okay, I'm glad I am. You and I have to talk later, by the way, anyways. So I want you guys to know that the investment for this is $225. One focused hour with someone who has done this work, understands the market. I'm going to tell you the freaking truth, not what you want to hear, but what you need to hear. Okay. So link to book is up there on the screen. I will put it in all the chats so you have that as well too, because I know some people can't scan if they're on their phone or something. LinkedIn sometimes does some weird things here. So I will put it in the comments for LinkedIn. So there it is in LinkedIn. I'm going to put it in here on Substack too. So you have that. I am telling you guys, this stuff matters. Companies need what you have to offer. And if you're not out there doing things in a strategic way every single day, not only are you going to lose out, but that company that truly needs your gifts, talents, and wisdom and experience is also losing out because you don't have a plan. Okay. And I do want to say, if you book one of those strategy hours by Monday, you will also get, I created this whole entire 60-minute edge here for you where you get very detailed about the 60-minute edge. You get templates to use. You get a checklist, all the fun things. Okay. You get that also. Okay. So go ahead and do that. I want to see all of you guys book those calls because I know companies out there need what you have to offer. Okay. You are not overqualified, guys. You're not too much. You're not anything. Okay. Just the problem we've seen is that you're positioned wrong, and that's fixable. So get on that call. And if you have any questions, please feel to reach out to me, message me on either platform, and I will be happy to serve you. All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Friday, and I look forward to seeing all of you on a strategy call.